Oh no, that's because, did you start? As soon as Daddy's done. Okay, basically, what we need to do is, since this is going to be your first braid that you're going to see me do, you need to separate it into 3, just like you would a plait, a single braid. And all you're doing is, as you're bringing it around, make sure you separate. Because if you're not careful, you'll get a hairball at the back of the braid. As soon as I come around, my thumb is actually picking up hair. And when I mean come around, that strand of hair came around. Now it's holding this hair in place. Now, there we go again. You saw me cross that. This is what I mean by making sure it's clear, because they'll get tangled up. Okay, so you bring it around again. Boom. Okay. Now, another mistake that a lot of people make is you have to stay on top of the braid. When I mean on top of the braid, meaning on top of the braid. As you see, I'm as close to the braid as I possibly can be, and as forward towards the front of the braid as I can. If you get lazy and start making long loops, like you see these loops? Can you see the loops? You see how they're longer? It's not as tight and it won't stay in as long. So what you want to do is go back up to the tight one and bring it around, and keep your loops small. Now, my hands are kind of big, so people can say, oh, my hands are too big, or my hands are too small, or all those excuses. They're exactly that. They're excuses. They don't really apply here. Now, do the nails help? Not in the process of putting in the braids, but they definitely help in the process of taking out the braids. Now, another thing that you have to be mindful of is that you equally pull the braid from both sides equally. Otherwise, the braid will ride apart. That's how you can tell if somebody pulled it. Like if you look at these, they're pretty much down the middle because I equally pulled from both sides. Meaning, when my thumb came and picked up hair, I didn't pull it more from one side, because that's going to pull the braid over here. Now, as you see, the braid has just moved closer to this side. So what you're going to want to do is return back to the middle. Now, do I recommend start, stop, start, stop? No. Because what you want to do is get an equal pull all the way through the braid. You don't want to pull more in one section and pull less in another section, because then the braid doesn't stay as tight. Now we're getting back here towards the kitchen. Okay? Now that's the back of the head. Most black people call it the kitchen. It's the tender part. It's the part that gets the kinkiest. Now with that, you're going to notice that it's a little frizzier back here. You don't have to, but it's easier, because my daughter tends to complain if I braid the kitchen too tight. What I mean that is, at the bottom of the braid, you'll see me start to relax off and giving her some slack, meaning that the hair isn't pulled tight to the back. Because as she moves her head, look down, Yanni. And as she looks up, look up. That pulls on the kitchen. And what tends to happen is you'll get bumps back there. And then once you get bumps back there, and then hair follicles tend to clog up, and it's just a mess after a mess after a mess. It's an easy fix. Just don't do it. If some of you guys get there, you get those bumps, I'll do an episode where I'll show you how to get rid of those bumps. Now, that's just an easy braid. Start, stop, start, start.